Greetings, godless heathens, fanatical zealots, and the rest of you. A little while ago I made a list of 12 typical theist arguments. Here's some more. Number 1, if you don't believe, you're going to hell. This is called argumentum ad baculum, which is a fancy way of saying it's basically a threat. It only works on people who already believe in hell. Besides, if God was petty enough to send people to hell just for not believing in him, then I'm not interested. Number 2, you can't use logic to disprove God. Moving on. Number 3, it's no coincidence that Hitler, Stalin, Mao, and Pol Pot were atheists. A, Hitler was a Catholic. B, every single person I've heard use this argument was a complete asshole. Coincidence? No, seriously. No, I'm not kidding. I've never heard anyone even remotely nice use it. You know my unpleasant person video? They're always like that. C, this is a bit like saying, it's no coincidence that Bundy, Dahmer, and Gacy were all white. Are you sure the fact that they were insane didn't have anything to do with it? Are there people who are white but not insane who have killed people? Or what about people who were insane but not white? You see what I'm getting at? You see, the people who make this argument don't really give a shit about anti-intellectual massacres. They just hate anyone who isn't a slave to the same god as them. Otherwise they would hate communism, not atheism. 4. How can so many people be wrong? This is a self-evidently illogical fallacy that barely deserves to be refuted. I'm just going to list a bunch of stuff that people used to believe but turned out to be wrong. 1. The earth is flat. 2. America will win Vietnam. 3. If Vietnam falls, so will the rest of the world. 4. There are weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. 5. Talkies are just a fad. 6. Color movies are just a fad. 7. The Titanic is unsinkable. 8. Putting a man on the moon is impossible. 9. Phrenology is real science. And so on. Number 5. Out of context. This one's just annoying. Now, they quote the Bible all the time, but when we do it, they always claim it's out of context. If that is the case, you put it in context. I'm not going to type the entire Bible every time I quote it. Do not claim we're taking the Bible out of context unless you are aware of exactly how putting it in context would change the meaning. If you suspect but don't know that it's out of context, get out your Bible, read it, check where it is, then tell us how it's out of context. I suspect out of context is basically a knee-jerk reaction Christians have to atheists quoting the Bible because it makes debating out of the Bible more difficult. Not unlike Muslims claiming that you have to read the Quran in its original language. Number 6. There's no such thing as an atheist. At first glance, this argument doesn't deserve to be debunked, but actually it has a couple different meanings. A. The person has redefined atheist as someone who actually knows that there is no intelligent life anywhere in the universe, absolutely anywhere, ever. By this logic, there's no such thing as a Christian, because a Christian would be someone who met God. B. Subconsciously we all believe in God. Well, if you're gonna make it subconscious, then how is it possible to disprove anything? Deep down inside, you are a pineapple. Subconsciously, you are a pineapple, and you know you are a pineapple. Do not deny it. Deep down inside, you are a pineapple. C. We're just pretending, which is just stupid. Now, in contrast, number 7, the Bill O'Reilly definition. Bill O'Reilly once claimed that Hitler was not following the teachings of Jesus Christ and therefore he was an atheist. Now, by saying this, he has reduced the definition of Christian to the point that a Christian is a mythological creature that doesn't exist, and he's expanded the definition of atheist to the point that it has no meaning at all. You might as well have said that Hitler was a carbon-based life form. You see, no one alive today actually follows every single law of Moses and every single thing Jesus ever said. The laws of Moses are barbaric by today's standards, and Jesus is even worse. You can't even think about sinning because even thinking about sinning is exactly the same as really doing it. So according to Bill O'Reilly, you are not a Christian. You are an atheist. Number 8. Atheists have never read the Bible. Okay, this one's just pure ignorance. A lot of atheists deconverted after reading the Bible. In my experience, atheists know a lot more about the Bible than Christians do. A lot of Christians have only ever read children's books and Charlton Heston movies. Some people have actually said that you shouldn't listen to an atheist when he quotes the Bible because he hasn't read the Bible. So apparently we possess the magical ability to quote the Bible without reading it. So we just kind of put our hands on the Bible and magically a bunch of quotes just pop into our head. Now that would be an interesting magical ability, but I'm afraid we don't possess it. Number 9. A lot of scientists believe in God. This one I suspect is based on a lack of understanding of how science actually works. It's not like religion. With religion, you bow down to authority and everything the authority figure says or does is right and nothing the authority figure says can be wrong, and it never changes. Science is based on the scientific method. In a way, science is in a constant state of failing backwards. Scientists are always trying to disprove each other's theories and trying to disprove their own theories. It's kind of like evolution. New theories pop up all the time. The ones that stand up to scrutiny survive. Theories that don't stand up to scrutiny get rejected. Newton's theory of gravity, of course, is common knowledge, whereas his theories on alchemy turned out to be a waste of time. I'll give you a specific example. I had a hypothesis that all Christians were closed-minded and all atheists were open-minded, so I actually did an experiment on YouTube to test this. And by the scientific method, I was trying to give Christian a chance to disprove my own theory. Mission accomplished, I'm afraid. I expected 99% of atheists to be open-minded and 99% of Christians to be closed-minded. However, I'd say probably about 95% of atheists are open-minded and about 75% of Christians are also open-minded, and it's only the 25% of Christians that are closed-minded. And if you don't like those numbers, do your own damn experiment. It makes no difference what scientists believe, it's what they can prove or disprove using the scientific method that matters. Thomas Edison was actually opposed to the death penalty, however he was even more opposed to competition. To run his light bulbs, he had his own electric company which used DC, but his competition, which I think might have been Westinghouse, I'm pretty sure it was Westinghouse, were using AC, so he wanted to make AC look dangerous, so he invented the electric chair, which would only work on AC. Technically, if the beliefs of scientists are what really matters, then you can't use an electric chair. When scientists invoke a deity, it's usually when they run out of information. Newton tried to calculate the gravitational effect everything in the solar system had on everything else, but that was before they invented computers, so he had to do all the maths himself, and he had a lot of trouble doing all the maths. So it wasn't until he ran out of maths that he invoked a deity. That's when he did it. Similarly, much more recently, scientists have also started to invoke deities to explain the behavior of subatomic particles. This is a mistake. This is called putting God in the gaps. It's not very scientific. Really, they shouldn't be doing that at all until they actually detect these gods. When people actually dissect a god, then ID will count as science. Number 10. Atheists worship Darwin. Here's the thing about that. We also believe in gravity, electricity, aerodynamics, biology, etc. And Christians are obsessed with evolution. It's ridiculous how obsessed they are with Darwin, actually. Kent Hovind even pretty much claims that Darwin invented all of science. Creationists spend more time bashing Darwin than any other scientist. Number 11. If you make fun of people, you're just as bad as the extremists you're making fun of.
Under the new emblem of the double cross, liberty was banished, free speech was suppressed, and only the voice of Hinkle was heard.
Hey, das Strafmittelhilfensekt, der Wiener Schnitzel mit der Lage werden und das Sauerkraut. Hey, der Flutensack der Fleppen, und Rumänien wie sein Straf, und der Blitzensack der Knütz. Hey, ich bleib noch straff mit der... Ballone war ein Stritz mit seinen Eltern, sagt der Hüden. Ein der Straff mit seiner Klatsch. Hey, der Stratz mit Sekretäten da. Mit seiner Tratsch mit Skedan. Meine Täter wieder straffen. Die straffen, sie straffen.
Adenoid Hinkle has just said yesterday Tomania was down, but today she has risen.
Democracy stunk.
Democracy is fragrant.
Liberty stunk.
Liberty is odious.
Free sprechen stunk.
Freedom of speech is objectionable.
Tomania mit der größten Armee in der Welt.
Tomania has the greatest army in the world.